morning
No,
or
good
evening.
super evening for you guys. Good
Super
morning for
evening.
us.
Good super moon. Yeah. Isn't it the full
Oh,
moon right now too? We saw it
oh
like when I
yeah.
was going to bed. It was beautiful. It was like, ooh, ooky spooky moon. I loved it.
Oh no, I
And
missed
the sun was
it
out.
because it's like I think it was a full moon in Aries
That's a lot.
that there was a lot of like astrologers talking about like all astrologers talk about like the moon once it's full or waxing or waning, all that good stuff.
I just love the look of a full moon. And I know usually when it's full, I say, I'm in my harvest season. Come, come, come. Here we go. Full moon. That's all. That's what I celebrate when it's the full moon and just like the physical look of it because it will sit like super low here and it's like
Oh, that's
majestic.
spooky. I love it.
I know. And there's like a cloud going over it. I was like, oh, it's Halloween. It's Halloween season.
So just really quick about Halloween season, then we're going to dive into Karen's article. For those of you who don't know
Yes.
what we're talking about, the article in which we interview another Black babe abroad, her name is Karen Yaw. Her article is linked directly in the description. Um, so before we talk about that, I do just want to, because it's going to be my first spooky season in Thailand,
Oh,
and
yeah.
everybody keeps saying like spooky season. Yes, Rosie, we're here to help.
Yes,
Um,
Rosie Rose.
Oh, and for those of you who maybe didn't catch the like, oh my gosh, also I just woke up. Don't mind me. We will be waking up as this
Oh,
conversation is happening.
yeah.
But today's conversation is going to be specifically about the nuances of moving abroad with children, which is what Karen's Q&A was completely about. She has moved abroad with two school-aged kids, and she talks about that process. And we're also going to be putting it on here for you guys. If you have any questions, oh wait, is there a way for me to do this? I think I can do this. All chats are visible. Haha.
Yay.
So if you guys have any questions, follow-up questions for Karen after this conversation,
Mhm.
we're actually going to be doing a live with Karen where we are going to, I have a 5-year-old and pregnant, wish me luck, but ooh,
Wishing
little
you.
tinies. But this
I'm sending the
conversation
energy your way.
this conversation is for you. And
Mhm.
Vern, if you have any additional questions after this conversation, we're going to be going live with Karen. So not right away, but in the near future. So if you have any questions
Mhm.
for her, please include them in the chat. We will write them down, we will store them, and then we will bring those questions to her in real time. So that way you can get all the information you need about moving abroad with your 1.5 tinies, soon to be 2 tinies.
Mhm.
Um, Yes, thanks, Nita. Amazing. But yes, just to wrap up about spooky season abroad. So, um, Thailand is big on malls, especially Bangkok. Let me be more specific. Bangkok, huge mall culture here is at a completely different level.
Oh,
You thought you
bring
knew
it
a mall.
back.
You don't know a
Bring it
mall.
back.
I did. I thought I knew malls. I don't know a mall. So all of the malls here have supermarkets. Got sadly kicked out of Rapture. Listen, we didn't make it either. We didn't make it either.
I'm still here.
What to do? What to do? Except, you know, keep thinking, keep making.
Literally anything else.
Yeah, the rapper didn't want us either. So sorry. Um, Spooky season. All this to say, there is a giant mall that is. There's 3 giant malls that are very close to me, and one of them they are actually building a. I don't even know how big. I would say like maybe a 75-foot tall facade of a castle that people can like walk
Mm.
through. So it's not just a facade, it's like a little bit of an extension of a
Little haunted
castle that people
house.
can walk through. I can't even say haunted house. There's a marketplace outside of it too. So there's like all of these like ideas of Halloween things outside. I don't know.
Okay.
It's fascinating, but they're building it now and they just keep extending upon it. I don't know. Everybody says that Halloween and
Interesting.
Christmas here is fascinating, and I'm
I can't wait for the Christmas report. I mean, I will say for how much Halloween is like slowly starting to get to Denmark because they have this like similar celebration in February called Festival, which is like similar where it's like kind of the trick or treating thing, but they also celebrate Halloween now because of course so much like international influence. But like starting September, the one mall or one of the bigger malls here literally had like a huge like Frankenstein outside of the mall entrance, and the whole bottom part of the mall, which like rotates seasonally, was like haunted houses and like kids activities and like old gate and like all this stuff. And I was like, love the energy. So we went just to like get something, and my little one was like, scary, and then just like went to it. I was like, she loves it. I was like, she loves all of this. So
And her little baby costume.
oh,
One
her
of
baby, we just ordered her costume. She wants to be specifically an Elsa fairy.
oh,
So she wants to be Elsa. Again,
but a fairy
the
fairy.
the cultural shift that happened with Frozen, the fact that the kids that I was au pairing for about 11 years ago were obsessed with Frozen, and my daughter is still obsessed with Frozen.
Hmm.
I mean, better work, Elsa. So she wants to be an Elsa fairy because she also got into Tinkerbell. So we got her like an Elsa dress, but she wanted rainbow wings.
Oh,
She's such a diva. She's such a diva. And I'm like shocked she came for me, but I'm like, wow, like out diva the diva. So yeah, Elsa fairy for Halloween. Drop your Halloween
oh,
costumes in the chat. This has become the Halloween.
yes.
Drop your Halloween costume. I'm like a Halloween head. That makes sense.
No, it
I
does.
love
It does.
Halloween. I'm literally throwing an adult like costume party at a local cafe here. And that's gonna be like over 100 people. We're filling this shit up. It's exciting. So like we're going for Halloween now. We're
So,
we're in Halloween spirit.
there is me and some of my girls here. There's a huge party that's happening for Halloween, and it's post-apocalyptic slash Dune themed. So
AKA real life. But yes. Slash Dune.
slash Dune.
So you can bring your Sandy costumes.
I don't know what I'm going to be, but I okay. So here's the vibe that I think that I'm going to be going for, and then I promise, guys, we're going to be diving back in. Ooh, there's also a really important like thing that we want to share with you guys because we have a free thing. We're
Oh,
gonna tease it. We're gonna
exciting
tease it, and then we're gonna share
giveaway.
it at the
Exciting
end.
giveaway.
We have our
Hmm
first
hmm
giveaway. We have our first giveaway, but you have to stay until the end to get to it. So yeah, so here's what I'm thinking about Halloween this year. I'm thinking that I am going to like I don't know, because I did this before and it was really
Oh,
fun. Because like you find like a nice
think
little,
about
like I kind of want to give like virgin sacrifice. You know what I mean? I think that's the vibe that I want to give.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Not what I thought you were gonna say, but
What
okay.
did you think
Love
I
the
was gonna say?
spirit. I didn't know, but it wasn't virgin sacrifice.
I want to give virgin
Not on
sacrifice.
my
I've
bingo
never
card.
seen Dune, but I feel like a virgin sacrifice fits within the
I mean,
universe.
honestly, Dune is great because it's like get a piece of fabric and drape it around you and put some sandy like nature and like just like it's basically a toga party, but like in the desert.
Like I kind of want to do that, but I want to wear like all white with like I don't know wraps and
And a little
things, and
hood.
then just do
Yeah.
like the darkest eye makeup, just like dripping down my face, or it could be like fake blood, just like dripping down my
Yeah.
face into the all white everything. Like
I'm
that
in.
is
I like that.
that's what I'm
I like
feeling.
that vision.
Thank you, thank you.
Great. Any other Halloween costumes drop them below. But while you're doing that, we will get into today's chat, which again, if you're just hopping in, we are going to be reflecting on and expanding on the article that came out this yesterday, technically, with Karen Yaw. And yeah, Shayna, how did you, because I know Karen is kind of one of your contacts. How did you meet Karen?
So I met Karen years ago. She's actually Auntie Karen to me. So she and I met at my family at the church that my family goes to. And it was an incredibly like it was a mildly spooky thing that happened, just like really showing how the black diaspora, we all have so many like deep, probably long rooted family connections.
Mhm.
Because so my mom's maiden name is Robinson. Karen's like maiden name is Robinson. And then there's another woman who is a who if you've seen the haves and the have nots on own, she was Veronica. She was Veronica on there. And her last name is Robinson. And you look at them all right next to, and they all go to the same church. And you look at them all right next to each other. At the time, they all went to the same church. And they were all like, had that Spider Man thing happen.
Right. Well, the Robinsons, please stand up.
Yeah, and like the church is a largely Korean church. So whenever there's another black person that
Hmm.
goes there, it's like black lady. So they all started talking, they all started vibing, they all realized that their last names were Robinson, and then they mapped out where they're all from because while Karen is raised in Brooklyn. Her family is from Belize. My mom is from
Mm.
Jamaica. And then Auntie Angela is from the Deep South. So it's really just giving one really big circle boat ride owned by a very sick man whose last name was Robinson. So that's really all it was given.
Now I'm just thinking of Family Robinson. Wasn't that the old show that they got stuck on the island, the
Oh,
Robinson
oh, oh. Was it
Family
the Family
Robinson?
Robinson?
I'm
Robinson
like, is this
Cruise?
all connected?
Was it the Family Robinson Cruise? Cruise Robinson? Was it?
Yeah.
It's something like that.
Yes. It's the same Robin. The way I know
That's
so much like old pop culture for no reason.
It's for
Uh,
reasons like this. It's for reasons.
it's for
So,
reasons like this and trivia. Like I'm
yes.
incredible at trivia. So
Oh,
there's that.
I'm terrible at trivia, raging
Oh,
ADHD.
amazing trivia.
Get really distracted very quickly. But so when it comes to so that's how we initially met, and then she and her family were like they move around a lot because of her husband's job, and so they
Mm-hmm.
happened to be stationed in the same town that we lived in for a number of years. And it was during that time that she had her second daughter, who really became my best little buddy. And then her second daughter, my mom is now her not second daughter, her only daughter. She has two kids. Um,
Yeah.
but my mom is her daughter's godmother, which means that her
Oh,
daughter is
okay.
my god sister. And then, as they moved, we've always kept in touch.
Hmm.
And then when Black Babes Abroad happened, I knew that she traveled a lot and like she did a lot of stuff for work and also like for her own, like she traveled for herself. So I was like, oh, Auntie, I feel like you have some info to share with people. And she was like, say less, let's do this. So we did.
Literally, looking through the article and going through, I was like, oh, she's been ready. This is also like seasoned experience, which I really appreciate. So yeah, I was just like, I was also sat for that conversation. It's such a good article, and I just love that we get to hear from more BBAs, right? Like some more women that have done it, and people really that have done it, in all different circumstances. And I think that's just like really important for us to see. Visibility is important. So I think as someone who had kids as abroad, like while abroad, and I mean, Denmark is home for now, but if we are to move somewhere, it's like, oh, okay, like I already have these tips of like how to best prepare myself, my family for a move abroad. So I think it's just a beautiful piece, and I'm so glad she was able to share with us.
Yeah, yeah. And so some of the things that she spoke about in the article, folks, once again, article is linked below. If you're curious, you see pictures, there's ways to get in contact with
Yeah.
Karen, all of that good stuff in the article. Um, excuse me. But one of the big things that she spoke about that really resonated with me was so I keep saying her older son as if she has more sons. She has one son, oldest, and then a daughter, youngest. So her son has ADHD. Um, my God, I remember when he was so tiny, and like that's the what. Like I remember when he was just so tiny, and he had these massive eyes and these eyelashes that like I'm like, if Sephora sold these specifically, they wouldn't need to sell anything else.
Bringing my
Um,
eyelashes back, yeah.
Yeah, so little buddy always had a lot of energy. Very smart, very passionate, very empathetic, and a lot of energy. And so he was eventually diagnosed with ADHD, and be like navigating that because now he's going to college.
Mhm.
But so navigating that from when he was very, very little all the way to going to being admitted into college, I I imagined that that would be difficult. I didn't realize how difficult it would be, but in reading it, I'm not surprised. Um,
Yeah.
like a thing that I really took for granted, being in the United States, that I didn't realize was a thing to be taken for granted until I moved out was how far ahead the United States is when it comes to conversations around neurodivergence, around
Mhm,
race,
mhm,
around gender, around
mhm,
intersectionality. Like, there's a lot that we have normalized talking about,
mhm.
that we're able to have nuanced conversations about, that there are studies about, that's not, we're not at like the ABCs of these kinds of
Right.
conversations, but there's a lot of places that are. And
Mhm.
in that, even like having a diagnosis, being neurodivergent, having your brain working in a different way, it's frowned upon in a lot of spaces. And even though there's nothing to be, it's just your brain works differently. But
Yeah.
as somebody with neurodivergence, with a brain that works differently, navigating that abroad and seeing, I can't, because and seeing different people's reactions to it, and then having them
Mm.
eventually have that aha moment of, oh, she's still a person. Her
Yeah.
brain just works different.
Oh
It's
my gosh, yeah.
fascinating.
She's just like me. Yeah. Yeah. I've I mean, I don't have honestly too much to add to it because I at this point, I don't have a diagnosis, but I do have quite a few friends, and it does feel like here, at least in Denmark, it is newer. It is newer where I'm like starting to see friends and family that are like, oh, maybe I should get this checked out. Maybe I should just see how this is rolling. And I've seen that there is support, but to your point, it does feel like rudimentary, um, compared to what I know, even just like leaving the States and what I know is available for the States. And I think again that, I think we talk a lot about like moving out of the States and like, oh my gosh, it's horrible right now. But like that's the duality of this. It's like both and. There are really incredible things about America, and there's really harmful things about America. Like, and it's going to be that for kind of every country, right? Like to a different extent. So I also don't want us to be promoting like any country as like the catch-all perfect place that's going to be perfect in everything for y'all. But it's also for everybody to be able to weigh the differences and weigh their priorities, right? So I think when it comes to knowing that you have, your neuro spicy and like, okay, how do I deal with that? Like, again, when we talk about your what must haves list, put that into your must haves list. Do they have, you know, pretty advanced or close to like, um, comparable care that you can have? Are there going to be levels of support in that country? Do you know that? It's just another level, but it is something to know that there aren't as many vast resources for the myriad and the beautiful spectrum of neuro spiciness as there might be in the States. And the same, like you said, around like gender politics, around expression, around all of that stuff. The US is on the cutting edge of some of those things because we push for it so much, but also because of that, there's also the bits that are going against it. So it's its own mix, but that is definitely something to keep in mind. And I think Karen explained it really well of like, especially with kids, it's like you really are sorry, my words are so thin right now, like 5 a.m.
Advocate.
Advocate, their biggest
Yeah.
advocate, and you need to be their biggest advocate and be present. And that's, I mean, it's the same thing you would have to be for yourself, but especially for kids, it's like to say, hey, no. I think she put in a story like, my son's not lazy, he just learns in a different way, right? And to be able to know yourself, your kids, so that way to advocate for them in this new space and country.
Hmm. Yeah. And I'm assuming similarly other to what it's like in the United States. I'm not 100% sure, never had kids. But even going back to what Vern was saying about like being able to have an open conversation about this,
Mhm.
like that kind of conversation is probably going to vary from teacher to teacher. But if
Right.
you do your research and honestly, there's a little bit of luck involved in this because things are so different, even within districts, even within regions, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you could find a good teacher, but that one teacher might be more of an anomaly within her school district. But being able to find a teacher that you can have an open conversation with, as it relates to your child. And that's going to have to be probably an ongoing conversation from year to year is going to be the
Mhm.
most important thing. And that's probably just going to start within the research and like having conversations with different school administrators as you're considering where to move to and what schools your child would probably be going to, especially if it's going to be more of like a private or international school,
Mhm.
there where they will probably have more resources. But once
Right.
again, the longstanding background of having these conversations in the United States might not be there in a lot of other countries. So I'm ADHD and I'm pretty sure my son is too. It can be hard teaching how to regulate things like that. Things like
Mhm.
that. So, like, knowing what are certain ways that your child, when it comes to regulation, right? Having a couple things that work really well for you and that work really well for him, that are practical things that you could be able to verbalize to a teacher, and then being able to have that ongoing conversation with that teacher or with that administrator or
Right.
whoever, to really, because sometimes even for these teachers, even for these administrators, you might have to normalize the fact
Yeah.
that kids function differently. um, so and especially if you happen to move to a country where uniformity is more praised than individualism. The United States is huge on individualism. Um, I will get to that question in a second, Lee. Thank you. Um,
Mhm.
but most other countries are not as and there's pros and cons to both, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
We are currently living in what happens with the extreme of individualism, where you don't care about the other person in the United States, right? So, um, but yeah, like being able to have those conversations and normalize those conversations for
Mhm.
potentially educators who have not been privy to this kind of uniqueness. It's going to be a learning experience on both ends, but it is possible. Karen talks a little bit more about her experience in with this in the article,
Mhm.
but let's hop into Shayna's serious
Yeah.
question. Are ADHD meds available where you're living? I've heard a lot about the
Mhm.
Asians and their band. I'm gonna be honest. This lady unmedicated. um,
This one?
this lady right here
Possible.
unmedicated. I can look this up though. I can look this up pretty easily. So, and for a lot of the pharmacies that are in town, first of all, amazingly stocked. Um, and you don't need medications for a lot of things. So, for example, if you are trans or non-binary or just a person that needs hormone therapy, period, you don't need a prescription for that here. You can just go to a pharmacy and they will just, yeah. So things like that, you don't necessarily need
Love that.
prescriptions for. When it comes to ADHD meds, I'm not sure. You would probably, I don't know. I don't know. I'll look into that and report back. Thank you. Great
That's a
question.
good question. That is a great question. I mean, these are the things too. It's like if it's not in your experience, you might not have like the scope of it. So I'm like, I might ask around and see how it is because I do know quite a few people who have been diagnosed with ADHD or similar scales. And I know there's medicine available. I know in Denmark, sometimes the process of getting prescribed is a little bit slower, but then the medicine, it seems like what I've heard of the experience. It's one of those things where it's like you kind of have to try out the medicines and see how they react and go back and forth. So it's a lot of back and forth. And I know with the Danish healthcare system, like it's like, yay, free healthcare. But like with that, there are stipulations and boundaries, and also just sometimes a little rigmarole to get through those things. So it might take a little bit longer for the processes, but from what I've heard, it's still available. So I'll also do some research and see if I can dig any stuff up or to
Oh,
regulate
hey,
the healthcare
Kirby.
system.
Here in
Hey,
Taiwan, I know
Kirby.
for sure some of them are at least available through prescription. My wife is using some that happen to the ADHD medicine through local mental health clinic. Yeah, like there
Very cool.
would likely be stuff available because ADHD is pretty what when I say well known, I mean people know about it.
Yeah, more of the
Yeah.
common, I would say.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if there are places to get medications for neurodivergence here. I just don't know what that process looks like. But once again, I will report back to you on this. I'll report back to you on this. Ooh, and then that could go into. I'm working on there's a couple of like bonus articles that we'll be working on, and one of them that I'm working on is about my experiences navigating Thai healthcare. I'm also going to be talking about Kenyan healthcare and Spanish healthcare. Um, I might do Mexican healthcare too, but I really only had one experience doing like navigating the Mexican healthcare system while I was living over there. If that's something that you're interested in, though, even though it's just one experience, please let me know in the comments. Um, but yeah, these are important things for people to know that I should
Absolutely.
probably know about. I don't know if I ever want to get medicated just because, like, it's my ADHD is not to the point where it is hindering my life.
Mm.
I don't think that it's hindering my life. I don't,
Ask your friends and family. No, I'm just
you
kidding.
know what? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't
No,
feel
I
hindered.
yeah,
They might say differently.
I, I don't. We do live farther away, but I feel like
Yeah,
it does not hinder our relationship. So
yeah. I'll ask my mom and
careful.
maybe my best friend. Nah,
Careful
it's
what you
okay.
ask.
I won't because I don't think
Yeah.
that. Definitely yes on the Kenya healthcare. I got you. Spoiler, it's amazing. It's amazing. I will go into more
Okay.
detail on that.
Oh my
Thank you,
gosh.
Nana. Um, barring the language barriers for government in China, they also allow you to buy meds over the counter as long as you see a legit going over how much is the course on how to be black babes abroad. So no course
No
necessary.
course needed.
If you go
Vibes.
over to our Substack, Black Babes Abroad, everything is in the description. Um, if you go over there, everything is in the description, and just subscribe. There's a paid tier where you get like unlimited rewatches of stuff. There's also, I don't know what's happening here. I'll get rid of that in a second.
Oh,
I
mods.
No, I don't think any of all of our mods are on the East Coast.
Oh yes, of course. It's
Yeah,
late,
yeah.
late for them, huh?
Um, but yeah, so all of the wait, what was I just saying?
Substack.
Substack. Yes. So go over to Substack, subscribe. There's a whole bunch of free resources. We'll be posting extra resources underpaid. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So there's no like
hang out there.
there's no course at this point. Maybe we'll make one. I don't know. But this seems to be doing really well and seems to be pretty accessible for folks. But
Yeah,
we'll see what life holds.
yeah,
Yes,
and we'll
Substack.
start with
So
the checklist.
yes. And there's a free checklist that's also in the description. Substack is just it's another platform to be able to share information. Yeah, just think of it as like a blogging site, I guess, or a version of a blogging site.
Yeah, people use it for a bunch of different cases. I know I started on it because I was just doing like my own personal writing just to kind of live journal almost. But I think it just feels like a bit of a tighter community there. And also a great place again for people to connect and for us to put these types of articles on and have this kind of ecosystem within there for Black Babes Abroad. So you can he- head over and start on the checklist. So we have like the first 10 steps of getting prepared to move abroad. And our idea to scope this out is that that's going to be one of two, maybe three checklists. So the first one really looking at how to physically and mentally and all of that emotionally move abroad, and that basically stops at like buying your plane. And then once you land, will be the next checklist. So it's okay, now you've settled. How do you live abroad? How do you build a life abroad? So thinking more of the long term. And I know for Shane and I, that was something that I felt like there weren't enough resources on. It was always like, oh, great, like how to study abroad, how to move there. But what got missed a lot was okay, how do you get integrated in the community? How do you, find your jobs, find your space, find
Apartment.
your apartment. How do you find the places, like the things that are actually going to allow you to stay there longer term, so that you don't have to, you're not just having like a year abroad and then you head back to the States, unless that's what you want to do. And we love that as well. But we also want to make space for people who are wanting to look at the long term of building a thriving life abroad as well. So that will be the second checklist that comes out. But we're still working through the first one.
Yeah.
and we saw your notes. So after this Karen article, next, it sounds like Karen, like the bad Karen, like this is the good Karen.
Her name
This
is
is Auntie
literally
Karen.
Karen.
Auntie Karen. After this article, we'll be going back to the checklist, and next will be on finances. And I know that's a definitely a big one. So we will try our best to bring that into a scope because there's so many
Yeah.
differences there. But we that will be one of those conversations, having those live conversations that will be really important to just get your answers, like any other questions that you might have that we can't cover in that one full article around finances and budgeting for your move abroad. We will again have that this open type of live for that too. So that will be coming up next.
Yeah,
So yeah, head on
definitely
over to the
have your
Substack.
questions like pre-written down for that one because I feel like that conversation could go on for hours, but we're really trying to keep these lives at exactly 1 hour. So if it
Mhm.
happens to be a more densely packed live where people are just like question, 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 then next week.
Next week,
That's what
same
they
time.
next week, same time. Same place, or are we going to be moving this over to like live on Substack? I
I
feel like we might want to keep it here for that one.
Yeah, let's keep it here. I mean, I will say the Substack Live, I think those are gonna be some that are just, like, maybe more sensitive chats just because it's like a close. Again, if you're part of, the Substack community, you'll still get the ping. I think, like, the user friendliness of it is pretty much the same, but the Substack, it's just a little bit more contained, a little bit more protected, so there's not as many, like, randoms coming in, let's say.
Mhm.
But I think the money talk, let's keep it here. So same time, same place on YouTube at this beautiful early time, and or late time. And yeah, so bring any questions. Again, we're gonna try to cover as much as we can in the actual article that will be coming out on Monday. So you'll have a little bit of time to read before our live. But yeah, we'll start on
And
Monday.
A Ford, if you have not, first of all, congratulations. Very curious where you're going to be scouting. And if you have not already, there is an article
Yes.
on our page, Black Babes Abroad, specific to scouting trips, like what to look for, how to organize it. Like, check it out if you have not already. Definitely helpful. Definitely
Yeah.
helpful.
Shayna did her big one on that one.
Thank you. I love a scouting trip. Okay, what are other things that Ooh, okay. So I have two other notes
Mm,
from Auntie Karen's thing, but
yeah.
I don't want to. Is there anything from Auntie Karen's article that you're like, ooh, I want to bring this to the forefront?
Now that I'm on the spot.
No, it's okay.
Not
Like,
no, not that comes to mind. No, what honestly, one of the biggest things was just the preparation, like the mindset part. I'm always again gonna focus in on the mindset part, but I just really appreciated um hearing Auntie Karen's experience of like going through multiple moves with kids, and also just like they're an extension of you, right? And we talk so much about us as the individuals, but there's so many people in this community that will be bringing their family, husbands, partners, kids, pets, right? And so I think there's also like having that wider sense of not how this is all going to settle just for me, but for the family unit, whatever that family unit looks like to you, and preparing everybody. And I think that is, something I've been coming to grips with, even with Black Babes Abroad, is like, okay, I want to prepare everybody, and I want to promote the country I'm in that has done me well, but I also understand that it does not do everybody well, right? So it's like, how do we find that balance of preparing other people for the unfortunate bits while also still giving them hope that it can happen, that good things can happen. I think there's the balance. And I feel like in Karen's article, there was a lot of that of like, it's possible. You just have to be intentional. You have to be present. You have to prepare. And I don't say keep that thick skin, but just know, like, be very clear about what you're leaving and what you're hoping to gain from that, right? Because like we said at the top of this, it's not going to be absolutely perfect in one country. Like everybody and everything in every country has its quirks, right? So I think just the mental preparedness was what really, really came back out. And I was like, oh, I want to get back into doing our mindset, which more details and more helpful resources coming around yeah, getting your mindset, planning your visa, all of that fun stuff. So more resources and just planning help is going to be coming on Black Babes Abroad too. So stay tuned for that.
yes. Um, And yeah, I think that, and this is probably going to be like an ongoing conversation. Maybe we like have a separate live about it, but I also think this is a thing that's going to keep coming up. Which is why I think like having your must-have list is a must, because if you there's no such thing as one quote unquote perfect country. Like a
Yeah.
country is just a collection of people that some many of whom share a similar language but oftentimes don't, right?
Yeah.
So the idea of there being one perfect group of people does not exist. So
No,
um
no.
like there was a creator. There's a creator. I'm gonna see if I could send you the video, Candace, because I think that this is
Mm,
like a thing that I would love to like discuss more of the nuances of. But there was a
yeah.
creator on TikTok who was talking about this exact thing, and she was talking about how she lives in Costa Rica, and
Hmm.
there were a couple other countries that she was kind of in between, and a lot of them hit a lot of things that were on her list, but she was like, okay, well, like one country, they don't have, there are less protections for uh, like abortion or whatever. And then there's another country where it's like, oh, there's this other like big, like rooted issue. But I have to gauge, okay,
Yeah.
this has my must haves.
Yeah.
There is this thing that's really yikes. Is this a make it or break it? Is this a deal
Right.
breaker for me?
Right.
She realized that whatever that thing was not a deal breaker for her specifically. Um, and like Kaya, this is exactly what we're talking. Like this kind of, oh well, I would like to know places that are more suitable to my for myself and my daughter. That's going to have to be a very real, very honest conversation with you, and depending on how old your daughter is, what her
Right.
must-haves are also,
Right.
because there's no such thing as a perfect country. There's no such thing as one place that's going to have everything for everybody. So you need to figure out what it is that are your non-negotiables. And then when you look at the objective truth of what is going on within that country, she's 10, I would have a conversation with her.
Yeah.
I would have a conversation with her, not necessarily about oh, well, I want there to be like, I don't know, butterflies and da da. No, like not
Also
Kaya.
nice.
I was saying that like that's your daughter's name. No, daughter, what are the things that you need and where we are going? And then you can start breaking down those places, not just on a superficial level, but at a political level. Because
Right.
so this is another video that I'm going to be posting on YouTube at some point. But there are a lot of people that are talking about moving abroad, but they're talking about it from a very surface level point of view. And they're not talking about the nuances of specific, they're not talking about politics when people are moving abroad. Oh, her
Right.
name is Kaya too? Oh, Kyla. Okay,
Yeah. Cute.
wonderful. Like, so there's not a lot of conversations about the politics involved in moving abroad. And because
Hmm.
a lot of people are not talking about the politics, because it's more nuanced and you have to do more research and it gets messy very quickly, a lot of people are encouraging folks to move abroad, are encouraging people to go to certain places. And I'm like, mm-mm-mm. If you read at least 3 articles, if you did at least a day's worth of research,
Yeah.
you would be having a whole bunch of asterisks underneath. Go to here, asterisk, 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 asterisk,
Right.
which
Right.
every country is going to
Is gonna
have.
have. Yeah.
You just need to figure out which asterisks mean the most to you.
Exactly.
And I think that
Exactly.
Karen did a really good job of breaking that down in her article. And I'm going to, and what she said actually encouraged me to continue to speak more in more of like a nuanced space about Spain,
Absolutely.
because like
Yes.
Spain was not the place for me. The issues that I experienced in Spain were solid issues. And there are some people where Spain would be the best place for them to move to right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And Kaya, Shayna is currently in Bangkok and I'm in Denmark.
Yes.
No, who's
So,
in Denmark. So no, and
yes.
it's the same. I was on TikTok and I was seeing more a black woman who just landed in Denmark and talking about her first like few, weeks of experience. And it was not sunshine and rainbows. And I was like, yeah, like I relate to a lot of this. And I'm like, oof. Yeah, like it's both and, right? Where I'm like, yeah, I've definitely had those moments. And at a certain point, it is like, if I want to try to make this work, there's certain things where it's like, I can't take people's stares as a threat. Like, unless something else comes of it. I can't take this as this. I can't, like, but it doesn't escape the fact that it is uncomfortable, that it is difficult sometimes, right? And it doesn't escape the fact that, like, I've had many privileges of having a white Danish partner, right? Like, I understand the optics of all of this, that I've been able to get into the community in a different way than many have, right? So I really did appreciate Karen's article of, like, the nuances of it. And I'm still going to promote. I've had a beautiful life here. So I still want to promote it and also let people know the real facts of it. I think that's actually been the really nice thing about doing our one-to-one consultations. I had a beautiful call with this woman from Brooklyn, and we were just talking about stuff, and she had incredible questions about, like, the logistics of Denmark, of, like, how do you apply for your program? How do you do banks and this, but then also, like, what's the one thing you wish you knew before moving to Denmark? What was the hardest part? What are people's reactions to Black people? And I was like, yeah, okay, it's this, right? It's both, and it's this part, and it's good and it's bad and it's blah blah blah. And I think that's important. And as much as we are charged and inundated with information, and it's so tempting to want to be like, yep, that's the answer. I'll take it. Boop, that's all I needed to hear. There's so much nuance in all of it. And it really, this is why I think space has taken so much time on this, like, first half of the checklist of, like, getting your mindset right, doing your fucking research, getting clear about what you need, getting clear about the visas, getting clear about the politics, looking at this stuff, because you want to be as informed as possible. So when you make the move and things pop off, you're not shocked, you're prepared, right? And there's lots of things you can't prepare for, but as much as you can prepare yourself and know what you're stepping into, as much as you can, it's going to help. And I think, again, I wish I could be like, yeah, it's the best place. Everybody move here. And I'm like, depends. Depends on what you're looking for. Depends on your life. Depends on your scope. Depends on all of this stuff. But I think that's why it's really nice to have these open conversations. And also, if you're curious, having those one-to-one consultations where Shayna and I can go, like, deep into your specific situation and give you an honest scope of, like, is this the place for you?
Yeah. Um, and there's two things that I really want to talk about. Um, so going off of the being able to do, like, one-on-one, more like deeper dives, this actually links into something else that happened, into something else that was spoken about in Auntie Karen's article. If you want to set up a one-to-one, links are in the description. You could have a one-on-one with me. You could have a one-on-one with Candace. Whichever, no pressure, but links are in the description for that.
Yeah.
One of the things that, somebody booked a call with me not too long ago, and she is, and this is why it's so important to stay informed and to have fully informed conversations as it relates to moving abroad, because this person works under a military and in the military sector. And that does create a lot of opportunities for people to
Mhm.
move abroad, currently and historically, whether that's living on the base, whether that's whatever it is, right? But with what, geez, wait 1 second.
Uh-oh. Early morning
They're
visitor.
not supposed to be here yet. They're supposed to, 1 second.
Who is lovely dress though. All right. Well, now that Shayna's gone, let's talk about her. Just kidding. Biggest headache is education and that transition to, yeah, A Ford, are you looking to go back into school? Because I will say, and I think we've said many of times, like, education and educational visas are usually the more streamlined ones to have. And I feel like they're some of the best to, again, get into the community in an easier way so that you're not immediately crunched with having to find a job, having to learn the language, having to do all of that stuff. So I'm all I'm all for education. And again, much more affordable in many places when you're coming from America. Um, Education for my littles, yes, that part too. Yeah. And international schools
There are
also is
people
a
that are
big,
here right now that are going to be spraying my room because ants. They were supposed to come in like 2 hours, but I'll be right
not the ants. The ants take over 2025. Maybe Shannon should be an ant for Halloween. Um, After my master's, I said never again. That's what I said. And I was like, well, I was in a crunch for a little bit where I was like, if I needed to stay and I couldn't get this current visa that I'm on, like what could I do? And I was like, I could always go back to school. However, I say that because PhDs in Denmark, and I believe in most of Scandinavia, are like treated as jobs as they should be because you're studying and you're teaching.
Because they
I love this. I love this reality. So I was like, if worst case, we're PhD.
oh,
All right, we're moving. We'll move. Thanks all for hanging in while the ants come marching in. Any other questions? Drop them in the chat. This is the time. We still have a few minutes left, and then we can talk about our fun giveaway. The show's real. This is the realities. This is the realities of living abroad and having ant problem. Also, we can drop Halloween. Also, Lee, I saw your Halloween idea, and I think it's a go. I think it's a go.
okay. Sorry, guys. Be right back.
Oh, what do you do to F off in Denmark just to relax? If you mean F off as mean as relaxation, or what do I just do to like get out and go to Denmark? Both being the same. It's a I'm also, I mean, I'll say this, that for both. Okay. So I did F off to Denmark for school and for reconnecting with my partner. Yeah, we were long distance for like 3 years almost.
Okay.
Um
Trying to catch up.
You're okay. We're just chatting now. So yeah, we were long distance for a while, and he wanted to move to the States. I wanted to not be in the States any longer. And then I found my master's program, and it had just opened up intercultural studies at Aarhus University, and it happened to be the same city that he had lived in. So I thought that's a that's good destiny. That's when destiny is just mwah. So yeah, I moved here 2017, and yeah, haven't really looked back. But what I do to chill in Denmark, honestly, vibe. I'm out in the forest a lot. I'm out in the greenery a lot. We went mushroom hunting the other day. I don't know who I am. I'm making things from scratch. It's like it's crazy. I'm in my country living fantasy right now. I did not have a job before moving. Again, education was my way in, and once I studied, I in Denmark, you basically I had 2 years of studies, and then after they give this like establishment card visa, so I was able to have a visa for a year just to find a job. So I
I'm gonna
basically
put in
again
my
did
headset real quick because 1 second.
perfect. But yeah, I hit the ground running. So once I started studying, you also have opportunity to get internships, and so I was like interning, and I won't say, and again, the job market right now for most, I feel like is kind of crazy, and Denmark is kind of going through one of those surges as well, or dips as well. Um, what I found that worked for me is like authentic networking. Once I got into a place, I did the best I could and I made honest connections. I didn't go to like LinkedIn locals. I didn't like push my business card out. I went into spaces, said I was confident about what I was doing. I did a good job. I made authentic connections, and those connections have literally carried me through all the jobs. Like I've had maybe one traditional interview process in my 8 years in Denmark, and I've had, like, multiple jobs. I also freelanced for a while. Um, so that's where I just did a video about this, but I was like, Denmark is not at least Denmark, and I think most of Scandinavia is not the place to, like, push and boop, boop, boop. It's like the network is so small. I continuously remind myself, like, Denmark is the size of Colorado. So if I look on LinkedIn, I'm like, oh, I have like 12 connections with so many people now just because I've like gone to this lunch with this person or worked here and did this project and authentically connected with them. And then they thought about me for something else. And so it was like, that's how I've navigated. Again, I know this is not the same for everybody, but when I recommend things, I'm like, do whatever feels good to you to find a job. Like, and again, I am in marketing. I'm a native English content writer. I had a specific way in. If you're in medical, if you're in engineering, there's other ways and sometimes easier ways to get in. So it's just all, knowing those nuances. I'm going through. There's so many questions. I love that.
Okay.
Um,
Really quick,
do
I
I
saw
speak Danish
somebody.
fluently? Oh yeah. What do you say?
Was I was just going to. There's somebody that was talking about being interested in both the continent of Asia and the continent of Africa, but they're not sure where to focus in
Mm,
on. I would say less than thinking about the continent, start figuring out countries. And then once you start figuring out countries, then start figuring out cities, because that's really what's going to make the difference or not. Um, if you're looking at things as far as like continents can change. Like, think
yeah.
about like even just like North America. You've got Canada and you've got the United States. If you're just like, oh well, I'm thinking about North America, two very different cultures. Very different cultures. Lots of
Yeah.
stuff happening right now in one of those countries. So I would recommend starting to narrow it down at least to the countries.
Yeah.
Once you figure out what countries specifically you're interested in, then start looking for not influencers, start looking for content creators that are living on the continent, or start looking for journalists who have either traveled extensively to that to not the continent, traveled extensively to that country.
Mhm.
And not in like the journalists that go, ooh, travel here. Ooh, look at this hotel. Ooh,
Yeah.
because that's more of like a
Travel
form of,
tourism. Yeah.
yeah, that's more like a tourism based thing.
Yeah.
You want people that are talking about the nuances of those specific countries. Um, and so the person that's talking about Tunisia, it's not like, this is what I'm talking about, like different, there's so many nuances if you're looking at continents, right? Not just with the black lady that was kidnapped and then fought for her freedom in Tunisia, but these experiences are unfortunately not uncommon. If you start looking at, as we mentioned earlier, the politics of different spaces and how that intersects with your personal lived experience.
Mhm.
Tunisia would be great for some people who are Arabic, who are of a lighter skin complexion, who are not Black presenting, who are, if you look at the history of that country, along with North Africa, generally speaking, because there are
Mhm.
black, like it's the continent of Africa, there's going to be black people everywhere. But if you are going to be uplifting your life, uprooting your life and moving to a place, at least know the political landscape of
Yeah.
where you're moving to.
Yeah.
And so when you're thinking about like those, if you're thinking about continents right now, narrow it down and then start looking for people that are talking about their real time, in the moment experiences and being able to communicate that effectively, um, to camera, in article, in whatever, to start getting more of like what your day to day could potentially
Yeah.
look like, and then you take it from there. But that's what I would recommend focusing in on right now. And what about you, Shayna? Did you go for education or did you have a job before moving? Both. It depends on where I moved to, though. Or I moved to Mexico, no problem at all. Literally what we're here for. Um, so when it comes to Mexico, I was there for 6 months, and I was freelancing 110%. When I moved to Spain, I was there first as a tourist for like their 3 month Schengen visa. And then I was like, okay, I think I want to invest more time here to see if this could be a home for me. So then I went the education route and I got a year-long education visa and I learned Spanish in that time and I learned that I don't want to live in Spain in that time. And then I moved to Thailand where I continue freelancing during my time in Spain. Their education visa does allow you to continue working for companies that are outside of Spain. There's a lot of uh, countries that offer education visas that are similar to that. And then some that allow you to work in the country too, which once again, person by person thing. You got to figure out what your specific situation is. That way you know what kind of visa, what kind of country works best for you. Um, and then Thailand, I am here on a destination Thailand visa. I wrote extensively about that on Black Babes Abroad. If you are curious about what it is and how to get it,
Mhm.
over there,
Yeah.
everything, I outline it as a one to one.
When you speak Spanish, do you lisp or not lisp? Uh,
Barcelona. She lisped.
Barcelona. In
Yes, yeah.
Barcelona, it it was a thing that I started slipping into in Barcelona, but then I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I refuse. So, and I really wanted to talk to more of my like Caribbean Spanish or like Latin American Spanish friends more often in Spanish, so that way I could get out of that. But people are busy or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, but those
Just
are my
to
yes.
No, those are all incredible points. I did just need to clarify when I did say mushroom hunting, I meant actual regular mushrooms. Um,
Oh, not
but
drugs.
no judgment, no judgment at all. But no, Denmark is definitely the countryside. Denmark is cool. It is cold. However, I feel like it has this. I'm from California and I've lasted here for 8 years. If you've gone through like a New York East Coast winter, you're fine in Scandinavia. There's a scope that it's like super cold. The thing that you're worried about is the lack of sun in the winter. That's the thing to be more shocked by than the actual cold. The Danes and the Scandinavians have this like whole saying of like there's no bad weather, just bad clothing. And I learned that when I was like, let me just get the cheapest coats the first 2 years. And I was freezing my ass off. Now that I actually have like good winter wear, it's cozy. It's cute. All the cafes have like the heaters out and it's cute and cozy. Also, Danish. Well, I do speak Danish. Jeg kan tale lidt dansk. Jeg kan forstå mere. All that fun stuff. Pros and cons of raising your little one in Denmark. I'll do a quick one. This is actually going to probably be one of my bonus articles about navigating the healthcare system in Denmark, specifically around being pregnant and giving birth and all of that after, which is, again, I found to be an incredible experience. I will just state that I spent the equivalent of $20 during all of my pregnancy, and that was for my partner to stay an extra night at the hospital. So I'll put that out there. But pros, independent play, it seems like this country is actually made for families, and so it's not crazy to have kids in every space. Things are made for kids to be there, so there's not this like shame around like, oh, the kid's being here, like, oh, I have to bring my kid. Like there's activities constantly. Like nice ass restaurants will have like a playroom in the back for kids. It's things like this where it's like, oh yeah, they're not seen as like a second citizen, like, ooh, we don't want to see kids here. It's like they're just welcomed and appreciated, and it's so that's incredible. The independent play I've seen with my little one now that she's in basically like daycare, not kindergarten, but like daycare. She's 3. Um, just seeing how they allow kids to grow and to do their own thing, but also be in community is incredible. Also, because we're raising her to be bilingual. Just like seeing her mind work in 2 languages at 3 years old is like so fucking cool. I think it's the best gift I've given her, is having that and having the same those bits of culture. So I think in general, I haven't experienced too many cons yet. I mean, of course there's some, but like mostly pros just because again, Denmark seems to be a society that like appreciates the family unit. And I've gotten support with being a parent from the Danish like government throughout the whole time, from like when I was pregnant to after, where I was just telling Shayna, I literally got a message, me and my partner got a message to be like, okay, it's time for Theo's second, like it's time for her like second, what's it called? Second dental
Dentist.
appointment. Yeah. I was like, oh, you're right. It is time. Like we get like schedules of all of her appointments and check marks and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I love that because that is like a mental load that you don't realize. So all that to say, that's great. And Denmark is not too cold. Do we have any other questions
As
before we do our giveaway?
there it is. We could do
There it
like
is.
one more question before we talk about the giveaway.
I love traveling with my 3 and 6 year old. Yeah, like honestly, traveling and just like taking her to other places in Europe too. I found it's more than even just like in the airports. We were in like the Amsterdam airport, and why was there a whole floor that was like for kids? They had like a
Ooh,
huge plain like playground. It was right by the McDonald's, and it was like right by the easy accessible. And I was like, yes, you know what I mean? Like simple things, but I'm like, yes. Also, I cannot tell you the annoyance of not having changing tables in many of the places. Like there's a changing table in every single bathroom. I've never been like, oh, where is there a changing table at this small cafe, at this restaurant? Even if it's rudimentary, there's always a changing table. And there's changing tables in the men's room. There's changing tables in the
Men are
men's room.
fathers.
Men are
Men are
fathers
fathers.
here. I talked about this on my TikTok. I see more men at the school drop off than I see women, actually. I love to see it. I said, yeah, you better be doing drop off. But it's also great because they're just like with their kids and they're like giving them the kisses and doing the send off. And I'm like, why is this like this? It makes me mad and sad that this is like still something I notice where I'm like, wow, I've never seen so many men taking care of their kids here. Oh, maybe it's the paternity leave. They actually upped it this past year that now men have to take they have to take more paternity leave. But I think it's still like men get something like maybe it's now 14 weeks and then they can split some of it with the mother. But I basically had 10 months paid maternity leave. And that was people are like, are you sure you want to come back after 10 months? Like that's kind of soon. I was like, I guess so. I guess it is. Okay. We will round this up. Thank you
Yeah.
all for all the questions. And again, if you have any other questions, please hit us up on Substack. We have the chat going, directly message us. We also have our email up there. So if you have any questions, like we want to continue the conversation. And speaking of
We
our
also
beautiful,
get inspo. We also get inspo for other
yes,
articles within the conversations, like the notes in the comment section. So if there's something that you'd really like to be discussed, go over there, include it in the comments, go be active in the notes. We read them. We get
we do.
inspo. Yes.
We do. Like, thank you for feeding this conversation and thank you for feeding this community, everybody who's here live and who's catching this later. It's just been amazing. This has been growing in such a beautiful, organic, and just magical way. So we thank you. And part of this growth is we've had a beautiful anonymous donor who has believed in this project, believes in all of us, building beautiful, thriving lives abroad. And we have 5 paid monthly subscriptions to our Substack. So getting all of the live replays, all of the bonus articles, all of that for a month. So we have 5 paid subscriptions that are up for grabs. How do you get this? Great question. The first 5 people that pop into our email, blackbabesabroad@gmail.com, and say, claim it, you can claim it, you can put the heart.
It's mine.
It's mine. The first 5 people, I will have the timestamps. You will get a paid monthly subscription to our Black Babes Abroad Substack. So yes, hop in email again. I believe it's in the YouTube. If not, blackbabesabroad@gmail.com. First
It is
5
also in the
people, you get
description.
perfect. You get a paid monthly subscription. Thank you to our beautiful, beautiful donor for this. It's just beautiful. So yes, you'll have that. If you are the 6th or plus person, don't worry. Hopefully more of these giveaways and fun things will be coming soon. And we just appreciate you being in this community. So
And that's why I giggle.
Exactly. Oh, and yes, Denmark does have a warm season. It's the summer and the whole fucking country is on like summer break. It's incredible because also the sun comes up at like 4 a.m. and doesn't set till like midnight. And on like the really crazy nights, it's like the sun doesn't set, baby. The sun
Okay.
doesn't set,
This is going to be
honey.
a separate conversation for us because I still need to make my way. We still need to meet each other in person.
So crazy.
That is a separate conversation. This has been lovely, though, people. Head over to Substack once again to continue this lovely conversation. We will be back next week to discuss finances. Dinero.
Dinero, kroner. We love y'all so much. Have a beautiful rest of your evening, day,
Yes.
morning, all of that. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Bye, y'all.